For decades, higher education was presented as one of the most reliable paths to upward mobility in America. The logic seemed straightforward: invest in education today, gain skills that increase earning potential tomorrow, and eventually enjoy a more financially secure future. Yet for millions of Americans in 2026, the reality feels far more complicated. Student debt has grown into one of the largest categories of household liabilities in the country, and its effects extend far beyond monthly loan payments. It influences career choices, home ownership rates, family formation, retirement savings, and even how people perceive financial risk. Understanding this issue requires looking beyond headlines and examining the mathematics and psychology that allow debt to shape economic behavior over entire lifetimes. Imagine two students graduating from college at age 22. Both earn the same degree and begin similar careers. One graduates debt-free after receiving family support and scholarships. The other leaves school owing tens of thousands of dollars in student loans. At first, their lives appear nearly identical. They accept similar jobs, rent similar apartments, and earn comparable salaries. Yet beneath the surface, a financial divergence has already begun. Every month, one individual can direct excess cash towards savings, investing, or building emergency reserves, while the other must allocate a portion of income toward debt repayment. The difference may appear modest in any single month, but over years and decades, small cash flow differences can compound into dramatically different financial outcomes. The psychological effects begin almost immediately. This often describes money not merely as a resource but as a source of perceived freedom. When a large fixed obligation exists each month, people naturally become more cautious. Career risks that might otherwise appear attractive can feel dangerous. Starting a business, moving to a new city, pursuing additional training, or accepting a lower-paying opportunity with long-term potential may seem harder when loan payments are unavoidable. Debt changes not only what people can afford but also how they think about uncertainty. The mathematics behind student debt are surprisingly powerful because they involve both interest and time. Consider a graduate with $40,000 in student loans at a moderate interest rate. A monthly payment may appear manageable when viewed in isolation. However, over the repayment period, the borrower may pay thousands of dollars beyond the original amount borrowed. More importantly, every dollar directed toward debt service is a dollar that cannot simultaneously participate in wealth-building activities. This creates what economists call an opportunity cost. The true cost of debt is not simply the interest paid, it is also the value of alternative uses for that money over time. To understand the scale of this effect, imagine that $300 per month is used for loan payments over many years. That money disappears from the borrower's balance sheet as a liability reduction, which is valuable. However, if the same amount had instead been invested consistently over a long period, it could potentially grow through compound returns. The exact outcome depends on market performance and time horizons, but the principle remains the same. Debt repayment competes directly with wealth accumulation. This competition is one reason student debt can influence net worth far more significantly than its initial balance might suggest. The issue becomes even more complex when viewed at the national level. Student debt is not merely an individual challenge, it is a systemic economic force. When millions of households dedicate portions of their income to servicing educational debt, aggregate consumer behavior changes. Spending patterns shift. Home purchases may be delayed. Retirement contributions can be postponed. Household formation sometimes occurs later than previous generations experienced. Each individual decision may seem small, but collectively these choices influence broader economic activity. In the past, this has revealed that America has faced large debt-related transitions before. After major periods of economic expansion, financial obligations often accumulate in ways that initially appear sustainable. Over time, however, households begin allocating larger portions of income toward maintaining past decisions rather than creating future opportunities. While student debt differs from mortgages or consumer borrowing, the underlying dynamic is familiar. When debt grows faster than income for extended periods, financial flexibility gradually declines. An important distinction, however, is that education itself often remains economically valuable. Numerous studies continue to show that higher levels of education are associated with higher average lifetime earnings. This creates a tension at the center of the student debt debate. The challenge is not simply that education costs money. The challenge is that the timing of costs and benefits can become misaligned. Borrowers face immediate repayment obligations while the financial advantages of education may emerge gradually over many years. When tuition costs rise faster than incomes, that gap becomes increasingly difficult to manage. Another overlooked aspect is the role of inflation. Inflation affects both borrowers and lenders in subtle ways. Higher wages can make fixed debt obligations easier to manage over time, but rising living expenses can offset that benefit. If housing, healthcare, transportation, and childcare costs increase alongside incomes, borrowers may feel little improvement despite earning more money than they did earlier in their careers. This contributes to a common psychological experience among debt holders: the feeling of running faster without moving much farther ahead. The broader lesson extends beyond student loans themselves. Student debt illustrates a fundamental principle of personal finance. Cash flow often matters more than headline numbers. Two individuals with identical incomes can experience dramatically different financial realities depending on how much of their income is already committed to existing obligations. Wealth building depends not only on earnings but also on flexibility. The ability to save, invest, adapt, and respond to opportunities often emerges from uncommitted cash flow rather than income alone. Viewed through this lens, America's student debt challenge becomes less about a single number and more about a system of incentives, timing, and compounding effects. The issue persists because it sits at the intersection of education, labor markets, psychology, and long-term financial mathematics. It influences decisions long before repayment begins and often continues shaping behavior long after graduation. Perhaps the most important takeaway is that debt is neither purely good nor purely bad. It is a financial tool whose impact depends on cost, duration, and outcomes. The mathematics of student debt become problematic when obligations grow faster than the opportunities they are intended to create. Understanding that relationship helps explain why a national debt figure measured in trillions of dollars represents more than an accounting statistic. It reflects millions of individual financial journeys, each shaped by the powerful interaction between education, time, human behavior, and the enduring mathematics of money.